Hey there, Sharon Hornhouse from here. Welcome to day 9 of our Get Your Goals annual challenge. Yesterday we talked about the different 9 areas and aspects of the life framework that I like to use. Let's see if we can see this. It's a great graphic, right? Physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, financial, relationships, contribution, and then I added communication and confidence a couple of years ago because to me they are key foundational areas. I know if I increase and improve my confidence, or I improve or increase my communication skills, that I'm going to get better results in other areas and aspects of my life, if not all of the other areas and aspects of my life. So that's my graphic. We'll see that a lot this year unless I choose to make a new one, which I may very well feel like I'm being creative and crafty someday. And I've got a lot of different tools and exercises that I made Mad Lib, Ad Lib graphics for, just to make them easier to understand and see as we're going through the challenge. Well, yesterday we ranked and prioritized the 9 different areas and aspects of our life. And here's mine. You can see I did it too. My top 3 are physical, relationships, and contribution. Now those are very different than they've been in the past. When I was younger, when I was building my family and supporting my family, finances was in the top 3 all the time, as was relationships. Relationships have been in the top 3 of mine for a lot of my life. And then physical, not until, and I hate to admit this, 2010, did I actually, and on and off throughout the decades, I paid attention to my health and my physical well-being. But for the most part, in my 30s and my 40s, until I hit 50 and dropped dead, I didn't pay any attention to my health. I was busy focusing on finances, focusing on building businesses, focusing on raising my kids, and creating the life that I thought I should be creating. And that's a big difference between what we think we should be doing and what we actually is right for us to be doing. And that's a little distinction. But boy, when you got the word should in there, you have to, whenever I catch myself using the word should, now I should do this, I should, participate in this particular course or group or event. And I ask myself, what makes me think I should do it? Do I want to do it? Do I feel like it's the right thing for me? Is it in alignment with my goals and objectives and my long-term vision of where I'm taking my life and how I want to live and show up in the world? Or do I think I should be doing it because other people would think highly of me, or whatever reason it might be? So today what we're going to do is we're going to take those same 9 areas and aspects of the life framework. This life framework, and like I mentioned earlier, you may have another life framework that you choose to use instead of this. This is just the one I use. I was working with a woman a couple of years ago, and their life framework had like 18 things. 18 was way too many for me. I'll tell you, 9 is pushing it for me. 7 seems to be a good number for everything. Why? Because our short-term memory can remember 7 things. I don't know this. I'm not a neuroscientist or anything, but I have heard it and read it a lot of different times from a lot of different sources. And think of phone numbers. Used to be 7 digits. Well, now they're 10. So you have to remember 10 things. And most of us don't have to remember any because we just plug them into our phone, our electronic device. So what we're going to do today is we're going to take each of these different areas and we're going to think about them individually. And we're going to ask ourselves on a scale of 1 to 10, how do I think I'm doing right now in that area? Now we're going to get rater bias and all these other things that happen when we rate things. But what we're trying to do is take a really subjective thing like, how am I feeling overall about my life physically? How am I feeling overall about my life mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially, with respect to relationships, communication, confidence, contribution, on a scale of 1 to 10. 10 is absolutely awesome, out of the park, couldn't do any better. It's like when you say something's 100%. Guess what? 100% is all you can give. This is one of my pet peeves. 100% is all there is, unless you're doing, financial calculations or growth and things like that. And you can get all kinds of crazy numbers that are over 100%. But for the most part, 100% is all of your capacity and all you have to give. So 10 is like 100%. 10 is the absolute be all and end all and ultimate. So physically, if you're a 10, you are in the best shape you could ever possibly be in, and you're maintaining that, but however you define it for yourself. If you're a 1, that means you're just going through the motions of being alive. You're probably out of shape, overweight, you don't exercise, don't eat right, don't drink water, drink alcohol, or have another chemical dependency issue. Then you'd be down toward the 1 end of the spectrum. In 2010, I was a 0 because I actually had a sudden cardiac arrest and died. So for a short period of time in 2010, I wasn't even a 1. So that just goes to show you that things change over time. So what we want to do is, on a scale of 1 to 10, rate ourselves on each of these areas and aspects of our life. I haven't done it yet. I've done this exercise a dozen, probably 24 times in the last couple of years, and I've done it, every year up until up until I started doing the challenge. But I just did it for myself because I wanted to see, number one, snapshot of where I am right now, and then do I even want to improve it? Like, if I say I am a 7 for emotional well-being and I'm okay with that, maybe I'll just do things to maintain and slowly move me toward a 10, because I'm one of those people that always wants to be a 10 in everything. Am I a 10 in anything? No, I'm totally not. Wish I was, and I don't even know wish I was, because that's kind of like my lifelong thing, is to always be improving and moving toward a 10 in each of those areas and aspects of our life. And it's just like our goals. As we get closer and closer and closer to what we think that our ultimate goal is, we're going to change that goal and move it down the road so that we're continually moving towards something that motivates us and gives us drive and momentum to create the life that we want. So, scale of 1 to 10, how do you rate your life right now with respect to physical well-being, mental well-being, emotional well-being, spiritual well-being, financial well-being, relationships, contribution, communication, and confidence? How's your confidence right now on a scale of 1 to 10, etc.? And then I like to take an average, because I am a nerdy science engineer, of all of them, and I like to compare the average number over time, and I want to personally make sure that that's increasing, right? Because sometimes if I look at each area individually, it's like everything else in our life. It goes up and down and up and down. Sometimes, some days I feel really great when I get out of bed. Other days I can barely get out of bed. So if I were to rate my physical well-being every morning, I would get a crazy graph that goes up and down and up and down. But it'll be at an average level. The average and standard deviation and stuff would be at a certain level. And I want to make sure that that's always increasing. Now, I'll admit, since the pandemic, my physical well-being and my physical health has not been where it was prior to the pandemic. And that is all on me by the choices and things that I've done during this period. But it's also on me that I can change those things. All right, that's it. Rate each area and aspect of the life framework for yourself. And I like to put it in my notebook and date it. So if I want to go back and look at it, and I can say, okay, well, here's where I was overall at the beginning of 2023. And then I always go at the end of the year and I look at the difference and the change that I've seen in these areas and aspects of my life. And of course, we will do that at the end of this year. So I encourage you to do this and write it down, because I guarantee you will not remember 360 days from now, or 350 days from now. All right, any questions, hit me up. Otherwise, I'll be with you tomorrow. Bye. Have fun with this.